the representative of the Kingdom of Uganda, my friend, the Royal Highness of Uganda, Cedric Naginda, all protocol observed. I'm not going to go into the protocols because this is a private function. I don't think I'll be able to speak much. I'm just here to say and thank God in the house of worship, who blessed me with Cedric. Cedric was my only son, as you heard, and my friend. Those who are close to my family know my relationship with Cedric. I virtually actually grew up with Cedric. As you heard, that we had Cedric very young, and we lived out of this country at the time. And somebody said, I think yesterday, that there are no lessons for parenting. So I virtually taught myself to nurture Cedric, because in our culture, when the woman gets a baby, normally the parents come around and help them to, especially first-time mothers, how to nurture a baby. But unfortunately for me, I did not have my parents in Kenya at the time, and it was very difficult. Not that I didn't have them. At the time, they were still alive, but because of the situation that was in Uganda at the time, I was alone with Sedi. I called him Sedi, and I had a spiritual name for him, Gahungu. Gahungu in Kinyarwanda means a young man or a baby. And Cedric was my Gahungu, my everything, my friend. When I'm sad, Cedric will be the person to know. When I'm happy, he was the first person to know. A lot of things have been said about Cedric. And honestly, if there was a stamp, actually, put that stamp to say that Cedric is what you've had since yesterday. He was kind, he was loving, not only to his wife and the boys, but his sisters. Very, very much. And his cousins. Allow me to ask all the cousins of Cedric, from Rwanda, from Uganda, from other places, just to stand up. And can you please stand up? Cedric's cousins, wherever you are, please stand up. And now when Cedric was taken ill, I was in Malaysia with Susan Muhezi on duty and many other people. And I was told that Cedric wasn't well. He had flown to Kigali for Kilian's tennis tournament. But I could not imagine that he was actually that ill that he wouldn't pass away. It never crossed my mind. From Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia, I was supposed to travel another country, but I routed a ticket. I remember having arrived in Entebbe on a Saturday. Sunday morning, I booked a flight to Kigali. The morning flight actually I missed because I was a bit late. I took the afternoon flight. And I found Cedric in the hospital in King Faisal, Kigali. Thanks to my family in Kigali was looking after him. Dr. Kaberuka, I want to thank you. Frank, Josefa, Dawn, many of you who are in Kigali, including family, friends, and other members. I want to appreciate you because you are the first people who tried to come to his rescue when he was taken ill. I want to thank you, Dawn, because he was your doctor, Dr. Sam, and I want to thank for him, that treated him, that actually discovered the problem Cedric had. He had had a heart failure, and I can tell you as a mother that I had never seen Cedric in hospital. He was never a secret person. He was full of energy, he was strong. And so they told me the seriousness of his sickness, but you can't believe it, I still had hope that Cedric will pull through. To cut the story short, they did what they could. Eventually, they referred us to Nairobi, and with his friends in Kampala, in Kenya, my sons, where are you? Kasuja, Costa, Humphrey, where are you? Are you all here? Simon, there are two Simons. One Simon is not here, Simon is not here, who was actually his best man, and many others. And they facilitated us to take Cedric to Nairobi. I flew with him from Kigali on air ambulance, and it was 2 hours flight because it's more aircraft. I was horrified. I didn't think I'd make it to Nairobi. I kept asking the medical people we had on board, but I could see the oxygen levels and all those things. Well, okay, and we were talking. I was talking to Cedric. And with God's grace, we landed in Nairobi. We found his sister Siki, who lives in Nairobi. Siki, where are you? She's here. She had prepared with Aga Khan to receive us. The rest will get here when time is right. What I want to tell you is that I thank God, and that's why I said what I want to thank God for having blessed me with Cedric, and I'm happy that he's left behind Amani, Kilian, Shema, in you, Cedric lives. You know how much your dad, you know he was my friend, and I know how much he cared for you. I will try to do what I can to support you. Together with your aunties and uncles, we cannot be Cedric, you cannot be your father, but you know that you are loved, and you always be loved. Come home every Sunday, because I know sometimes you don't want to eat proper food, you want to eat junk food. But we can always order Kentucky Fried Chicken, and we share it. So mothers in this who are seated here, you know what it means. The pain a mother goes through to have a baby. And losing a baby, losing a child, I call it criminal. It's criminal losing a child, a man or a woman of that age. It's extremely heavy. I keep saying it's heavy, it's heavy, it's heavy. And I think it's one time I was telling somebody at a Khan hospital that at some point I lost my faith. I must confess this in the church. And I was like, God, why are you taking away my son? We watched Cedric go and go and go. His vitals fading one by one, with his sons, with his father, with his sisters. What I can tell you is that Cedric went well knowing that he was loved, not only his family, but his friends, who were also in Nairobi, and by the way, who flew in, coming to see Cedric. Even those who came to Kigali, when you actually thought it was just he was going to get better, but they still came. I thank you, my sons. Please continue being my sons, and I'll continue to love you. I'll continue to welcome you to my house. Thank you very much for being Cedric's friend and support. It actually comforted me when Cedric passed, because some of you were there. And it gave me strength. So for that, once again, I say thank you. I say thank you to church. I thank you to my friends in this church, people who work together, people who I really want to thank you very much. And for those of you who sent messages, who called, unfortunately, I wasn't able to take calls. I know there are many calls that I wasn't able to answer. but know that I received them and I acknowledge